Hey guys, this is your girl Lira, and you're listening to Self Reflection Podcast. Thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Self Reflection Podcast. I hope and I pray that this podcast episode finds you guys in the best possible state that you can be in for yourself in today. I am so excited, guys. As you guys can see, I'm smiling the entire time if you're watching this video. But if you're listening to this podcast episode, I have this big old smile on my face because I am excited to be talking to our guest today. I know that this conversation is going to find someone that needs it. It's going to find someone that is on a journey and needed some type of clarity. I just know. So I'm excited to get in this conversation. Before we let our guest come in, I want to introduce him a little bit. Today, we are going to be talking to Mike Allen, the founder and CEO of Ballin Ambassador, also the director of Awaken A Christian Academic in Las Vegas. Also, Mike Allen has a master's degree in sports management and leadership. Let me tell you guys, this man literally has changed. He changed the trajectory of my life. I literally went to college because of Mike Allen. I am beyond grateful for him. We're going to get to know him a little bit more. So please help me welcome Mike Allen. Hello.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you for joining me on Self Reflection Podcast. I am super stoked that you are here. This is a blessing. I feel like this is a full circle coming through with this moment happening right now. And I don't know, it feels great. It feels great. So I'm excited to have you here. But before we get into this conversation, can you please let our family, even though I just give a brief background of who you are, can you please let our family on Self Reflection Podcast know who they're going to be having this conversation with today?
Well, you're talking to someone who's a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody that can save anybody. And
Ooh.
despite who I am and what I have been talented and gifted in doing, I know my purpose. I know my calling. Yes, my name is Mike Allen. I am the director of athletics at Awaken Christian Academy in Las Vegas. I run my organization, Ballin Ambassadors, B3 Ambassadors, and Mike Allen Sports. At the end of the day, the things that I do, I want to change lives. I want to inspire people. I want people to know that they can accomplish anything that they set their hearts out to do, no matter what the challenges they may face. And I'm smiling right now because Lira is like my daughter. I don't want to say like my daughter. She is a daughter to me, and we've been through a lot, and we've been blessed. Even during the process. Those times where you want to give up, but you keep going because of the community that you're surrounded around. So I am honored and I'm blessed to be able to be here and talk with you guys and yeah. So thank you, Lara.
Thank you. Oh my God. Oh, I don't want to cry because I'm not gonna
We're
cry.
gonna try.
Uh, I'm not gonna cry. I I just want to take us back to like Gunderson and where this beautiful relationship, this bond started. I remember about 2 weeks or so ago, I made a podcast episode talking about basketball and my time at Sonoma State and how I got there. But I don't think I ever went back to like high school where I actually, found the motivation to even get me to Sonoma State, which you were a huge factor in why I even got the opportunity to even get to Sonoma State, right? So, Gunderson, looking back at Gunderson, with you coaching, with you coaching throughout your career, let me actually start with this. So Mike Allen actually has played overseas. I think we skipped that entire part in the intro. So please let's pause before we even get to Gunderson. Can you tell us a little bit about your time overseas playing as a professional athlete overseas and then transitioning back into the United States?
Yeah, I've been fortunate, to play basketball all over the world. Internationally, in the Philippines, Hong Kong, China, Guatemala, Sweden, and Poland was my last uh, opportunity. To play professional basketball before coming back to the States, and I played 3 years in the States, and um, yeah, I mean, like to have the opportunities, that I've had, I am fortunate to be able to travel the world, to see the world, to be able to use basketball, music, motivational speaking to touch lives. And uh, I wouldn't be here today, I didn't have a coach, who touched my life and helped me to see my worth, not in just uh, who I am and the gifts, that I have, but um, just knowing, that this is what God has called me to do, to make an impact, to make a difference on everyone's lives. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm definitely one of those that I feel like you definitely made an impact in their lives. And fast forward to us meeting at Gunderson. When I first met you, I was extremely, I don't know if I was shy, but I was awkward and
Yeah,
quiet.
shop quiet.
um, very awkward and shy and quiet in a way. And I just remember, when it came down to basketball, you always like told me like you can play with anybody, you can play with the boys, you can play with the girls, you can play at different levels, and your conversation and your motivational like talk with me, right, really inspired me to, I think, to even be the person that I am today as well. So when it comes down to coaching, I know you've coached both boys and girls, but when it comes down to coaching girls, what inspire you or motivates you to want to inspire women the way you do?
Well, I grew up with three women. My mother, who passed away last year. My youngest sister, who passed away 13 years ago, and my oldest sister, who's here with me now. Uh, I was the middle child, so I was a mama's boy. My sisters used to beat me up from time to time, but they protected me, and I saw a lot growing up, in their lives that really like drove me to coach women, because I felt like I have a major sensitive side, to me. I have a manly side, but my sensitive side, and love for helping women's sports, uh, knowing, that they have the same gifts. They may not be as strong or as athletic, as a male, but within who they are and just how strong they are, um, it was why my career has been, longer, coaching women, and because I see who they are, I understand what they go through. I understand the peer pressures. I understand the challenges that they face in relationships. In the job force. And not being given, the opportunities, whether it be them getting paid, the same as a male in the same field. I've seen all of it, but my desire, to be able to, help, women, help men, as well, to find their worth and for them to see all the things that they're capable of doing. So, yeah.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Prolong. If you want the healthy benefits of fasting, such as healthy aging, weight loss, energy, and mental clarity, while still being able to eat, Prolong fasting mimicking nutrition programs are for you. Prolong is the first and only clinical tested doctor recommended fasting nutrition program based on over 20 years of research and development by the Longevity Institution at the University of Southern California in collaboration with 17 other prestigious universities. It's primarily plant-based. Non-GMO food is shown to rejuvenate your body cells the same way fasting would. And if done 3 times a year, you can reverse your biological age by 2.5 years. Check out Prolong 5 Days Nutritional Program and subscribe to the program every 4 months for the best results by going to prolonglife.com. That is PROLONLIFE.com. And for you, my dear self-reflection family, you get 20% off with code SELF10 at checkout. Yeah, wow, thank you. And I am still going to raise my hand. I'm one of those women. And I know many of my Ballin Ambassador sisters, I know that, when we had conversations and what kind of Coach Mike was, it was never really like anything other than, Coach Mike will have you do X, Y, and Z, and he will push you and he will motivate you and he will inspire you. And there's this like love that you had for every player, it was a boy or the girls. You had this amazing like bond where it felt comfortable coming to you and talking to you, and many of the players did that, even the guys as well, right? The guys felt really comfortable coming to you and talking to you. And I also was doing a little reflection last time when I was talking about basketball. I remember in high school where I would catch the bus and the light rail, but you were when you were at the JCC, and you would offer trainings to literally everyone that was playing basketball at Gunderson for free, right? And why did you felt like, even for AAU, I played AAU and I never paid a single dime, and I know those things are expensive. Why did you like felt the I don't want to say felt the need, but how come you wanted to give back in such way? Because it impacted me, and I know it impacts so many other players that played for you.
Are you about to make me cry? Well, at the end of the day, I know how I grew up. I will never forget, the opportunities that were given to me to be able to do what I do, to be able to have the opportunities that I've had. And my mom taught me how to, not how, but to remember where you come from, and to go the extra mile, no matter where you may be, no matter what status you may have. It's about making an impact. It's about making a difference. And whether someone can pay for something or not, I don't say AAU, I say travel basketball, but yes, there's fees to everything, there's cost to everything, but at the end of the day, it's all about if someone has a desire to achieve something great, whatever it may be. For me, it just happened to be basketball. Training and coaching student athletes. Whether you're at the top and your skills and your athleticism, or if you're not. I was one of those players that I was not super talented. Did not think that I was going to make a basketball team. I played football and baseball all my life. That's what I was going to college for. And if it wasn't for scouts that were recruiting me with football and baseball, they said, "Hey, look, do you realize that you get in a lot of trouble in between football and baseball season? You either do one or two things. You either get a job or you play a winter sport." I didn't need to get a job because I had so much handed to me because of my gift, my talent playing sports. Um, so I wasn't going to get a job. We had everything handed to us. And so the first sport that I tried out for was wrestling. Then I saw that the outfits that they were wearing. I'm like, no, that's not for me, and I'm not rolling on the ground with nobody. um, the only other option was basketball, and I didn't really have the skills, but I had the athleticism, I had the strength, but I had a heart, what I mean, of a lion. No one could stop me from accomplishing and achieving whatever I wanted. And even though when I made that team, I was a bench player, I worked so hard till my name was called. And when my name was called, there was nothing that was going to stop me. So, um, and that's how I am, still today, and when I'm coaching someone, when I'm mentoring, a student athlete, so forth that has this desire. I was just sharing a story with a player just a couple of days ago, who was going to quit because of the fact that the guys were making fun of him, because he's not as talented and gifted. And I said, hey, look, you're here because I want you here. Who cares about what everybody else says? I would remove, what I mean, the 3, 4 people that are talking down on you from this program, just so that I can have you, because I know that you're going to make an impact and you're going to make a difference. And that's why I coach. That's why I do the things that I do, because it means a lot to me. And and to sit here today talking to you and who you are, um, how far you've come, the challenges that you have faced. You're inspiring me right now. To not stop and to continue. And I've gone through a lot. You know that. So yeah.
Thank you. And your I think your caring personality has been one of those things that allow the players to always gravitate towards you. Like I was saying earlier, just have this like comfort level to want to open up to you and talk to you. You know, so when you were talking right now, you talked about how you came out of the bench. I know this story, guys, but I'm just like trying to stay in the present right now. I don't know these stories, but I do know the stories. You're talking about how you came off the bench as a six man. I think Igor Adala from the Warriors, or used to be, he wrote a book, The Six Man, or something like that. But I
Andre
don't.
Iguodala.
Yeah, he just wrote the book, and when I saw that, I was like, he, I wouldn't even consider him the six man. And I think that's the same for you,
Mm,
just because of
mm,
the impact that he makes every time he gets on the court. It's never as if like he's coming off the bench, so I wouldn't even consider it with you. And that's where my mind went. We're like, oh my God, that's such a, like, he's a phenomenal player and a game
mhm.
changer. And I feel like that's the same with you when you said that. So yeah, but I'm super excited again. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Self Reflection Podcast. If you are just joining this conversation, we are talking to Mike Allen, the founder and CEO of Ballin Ambassador, or B3. Also the director of Awaken A Christian Academic in Las Vegas, and a leader, a mentor in our community. Please, let's get back to our conversation. Thank you so much for joining us again on Self Reflection Podcast. I'm excited to be here. I've been smiling the entire time we've been having this conversation.
Me too.
So,
Oh.
uh, like, just right now I saw Michaela on the camera, and this is how far back this history has gone. Michaela was a baby. I think Michaela was like two, barely crawling, maybe
Yeah.
one. Oh, I remember you bringing her to the game, and after the basketball game, she and I would sit on the basketball floor, and she would just curl around, and I'll follow her everywhere. And now she's a teenager, and it,
She's a wannabe teenager. She's 12, so she's almost there. Sitting
almost
on the bed.
almost there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
And there's so much history here, and I'm so blessed to be having this conversation with you.
Me
And for
too.
all those young, I think before we get into that, one of the conversation that sparked our conversation of having this is what is going on in the WNBA right now with
Mm.
Caitlin Clark getting into the game, and her being a phenomenal player, the way she by the way she plays, right? She's a great shooter. Defense, we can send her to Mike Allen and get that defense get that defense going. However, she's still a great offensive player. And we were having a conversation off camera a while back, and I was talking, talking about how the media and some people have portrayed the women in the WNBA, right? The African American women in the WNBA as jealous. And you asked me, like, what are your thoughts about it? I was like, I don't think they're so-called jealous. And even if they are, it's normal for them to be if they are, right? Because they're human. That's part of human emotions. However, do you think that in this space, in especially in today's day and age, her being a white lady does impact the way that she's being viewed on the media and in the WNBA?
I I think that um, her talent, the things that she's accomplished, the work, that she's put in, to accomplish everything that she's accomplished, is outstanding.
Yeah,
And for a player to do what she's done, break records that she's broken, both on the male and the female side, is absolutely amazing.
yeah,
Um, uh, her talent, is above the charts. There's always going to be people that are going to hate. I guess I would say they're going to hate because she's getting the recognition that she's getting. But she loves the game of basketball.
yeah,
She loves the game of basketball. She knows she's humble. At that, and she put from watching her, she puts her head down. A lot. And I understand. How other players may feel. Especially on the African American side. How they may feel like they put in the same work. They may not have broken all the records that she has, but they've changed the game as well too.
yeah,
Why is she getting all of this recognition, and then she's getting all this money as well. Um, it's there's people can view it and in so many different ways. And the media is always going to attack that in every way and try to make it a race thing, try to make it, she's better, than everybody and so forth. But at the end of the day, um, you know, the the competitive, side, the athleticism, carries forward. I mean, the hard work, does too. Did she ask for all of it? No, she didn't ask for all of it. She came out and she just worked and put her head down, did things that she needed to do, and it just benefited, not only her, but I feel that it's benefited the whole WNBA, and women's sports in general, because your teams are selling out arenas, because of what she has been viewed, as being here in Vegas, the Aces, being here, winning back to back, championships, they now, because of what they have accomplished as a team and as an organization, they're the arena is sold out. It's hard to get tickets, to
yeah,
see an Aces game, right? So um, they have changed the game, as well too for the WNBA. But going back to Caitlin Clark, she put her head down, she put in the work, put in her time, and she is. being, given, opportunities because of her hard work, you know, as well. So,
Yeah, I do agree that she does, like, she's a great player, and she seems like someone that really works hard. And also being a basketball player, I know that takes a lot of it takes basketball takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of emotional strength and everything else out of you, right? Sometimes you miss families, events and so forth. So
mhm.
I do agree that it takes a lot out of you. And what do you think about, like, the women's sports actually getting the recognition that it's getting in this time, being a women basketball coach for so long, but and just now we're now getting this type of attention.
It's about time. It's about time. I mean, you look at statistics. At times. I would always when coaching because I've coached boys, I've coached girls, coach men, I coach women. Um, Knowing, I'm an analytical person, so I look at stats, I look at a lot of video, and I always compared the stats of a female to a male, and the female, always had the higher percentage, of stats, and accuracy within their game, and the male, really it's they were athletic, right? Stuff, they were scorers and so forth, but the overall fundamental development, of a game for a woman has always been really a lot higher. So that really always, like, I would always compare. I mean, even I would compare, growing up, say, hey, look at this, look at Lyra's stats, look at how high, she's shooting 54% from the field because she's staying within, her what she does best, and I get in arguments with male players saying, hey, stuff, you need to be, if you listen to everything I'm trying to tell you to do, you would have, you'll shoot a higher percentage, as well too. But a lot of times, as the male ego is like, man, I'm trying to dunk on somebody, I'm trying to score 50 points, and this that, and that's just the want to be on top mentality, for males, but the game is changing, a lot, and it is about time that women are being recognized, and then people are wanting to be at the games. So it's cool, cool to watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's time for us to share the big stage, guys, with all the men. It's time for us to share the big stage. I'm excited for the women's basketball and how that's going to evolve in the next year, because I see that a lot more girls, are becoming uh like, what's it called? Like, they play with swag now, so it's not just like, there's a lot of style in the way the women are playing. So I'm excited for that. For any other young athletes out there that are looking to, play in college and above, right? What supportive or guidance do you have for them from your professional standpoint?
At the end of the day, it's all about you understanding that when no one is watching, are you still willing, and are you still going to put in the work that you need to put in to get to that next level? A trainer sometimes is not always going to be there. A coach is not always going to be there. But are you willing to work just as hard behind the scenes as you do, in front of the scenes? There's so many opportunities out there for we're talking about basketball, right now, but there's so many opportunities out there for basketball, 7 different
Yeah.
levels that you can play on, Division 1 and Division 2. Yeah, those, everybody wants a full ride scholarship and so forth, but not everybody's going to get a full ride scholarship, but you have Division three, you have NAIA, you have junior college, and then you have the Bible and Christian colleges. So you have seven different levels to have an opportunity to continue your education as well as plan at the next level. And who knows? Somebody's always watching. Even when we think that people are not watching, people are watching. Even right now, people are watching all over the social media channels, right now. But to be able to inspire and motivate people, to understand you can accomplish whatever you set your heart out to be if you're willing to put in that work and you listen, and put in that time as well too. So yeah.
Absolutely. I 100% would second that. And knowing you, if there is one thing that there's something that somebody is good at, not one thing, if there's something that someone is good at, is overcoming obstacles. I think knowing you and knowing your journey and knowing your personal journey, I think that you have such a resilient self within you that sometimes you don't even see it, how much that self within you is so powerful, right? And because you're so humble at the same time, it's like you don't see that resilience in you. And I'm asking and I'm saying this because I would love for you to share some tips and guidance on how to be resilient and continue to pay forward. Because like I said, if there's somebody out here that has knows how to bounce back up and bounce from whatever that has hit them, I think you would be that person that I'll be like, yes, Mike knows how to, even if no matter how many times you fall, it just seems like you get up. And every time you get up not with anger, but with so much grace. So yeah, sorry. I'm so I'm like into it, but yes.
Uh, what was your question?
My question is, sorry, I just got so caught up in the fact that you just have so much, like, there's so much love within you and there's so much like passion within you. And my question is, for what supportive word do you have for anyone out there, to support them to continue to go forward after hitting that like rock, after hitting a challenging time, finding that resilient within them to keep going.
Hmm. Um, I well, one is I'm writing a book, and it's hard for me to finish this book. The title of it is Overcoming Obstacles with Praise. Um, we all we all go through tons of obstacles, all go through challenges, but if we can go through those obstacles with praise, my faith is what has carried me throughout everything that I've gone through. And at 51 years old, last week, turning 51 years old, I have gone through what 60-year-olds have gone through. Uh, why do I keep bouncing back? Why do I don't hang my head? A lot of that is because of my message. What I mean, that I've shared with many players. What I've shared with you. But understanding that hard work brings change, right? Overcoming obstacles with praise, having faith, and having that trust. That God is going to see us through everything. I have lived that, and if those that know me, those that get to know me, those who are in my circle and so forth and all that, people have seen and people have watched my life. And my message, has always been, to keep fighting, even when you get knocked down, keep pushing through, trusting God, what I mean, have faith, um, believe, what I mean, that you can achieve whatever you set your heart out to achieve, but knowing, knowing that even when you get hit and you get knocked down, to get back up, keep going, know that you have people in your corner. You're not the only one to go through the things, the hard times that you may go through. And I've gone through a lot. I mean, I've gone through divorce. I've gone through losing. I mean, everything that I've worked so hard at, and I don't even say that I lost it. It was put on hold. Why was it put on hold? It was put on hold because God knew, and just as an example, going through, divorce, stuff, going through COVID, which everybody lost a lot, I mean, during COVID, I lost everything, so during that time, my training center, I mean, that I built, I trained, a lot of you guys helped me build this thing, I lost all of that, through COVID and so forth. But it during that process and during that time, what was I doing? I was going after getting my master's, during all these losses, what I mean, there are all these heartache, through the pain. But also during that time, God knew that I needed to step back from a lot of things that I was doing because my mom was battling cancer. She was fighting for her life, what I mean, to um, fight through, uh, passing away, like I said, last year, that was the hardest thing that I've had to go through. But if I had been doing all the things that I normally do, what I mean, traveling, speaking, all over the country, doing all of these basketball camps and clinics, running, basketball leagues and this up with over, what I mean, 1,000 kids, what I mean, participating, coaches, mentoring coaches, if I had, for me, if I had not had lost that, or like I say, if those things had not been put on hold, you know, um, I would not have been able to be there, for my mom in her last days,
Yeah.
and even then, uh, I just know, I just know that no matter what I go through, my message, I cannot give up for all of you guys. If I give up, and I hold that pressure, if my message is keep fighting, trust in God, you can accomplish this, don't give up, and so forth. And that has been my message all of my life,
Yeah.
all of my coaching career and so forth. In my mind and in my brain is if I give up, it's not about me. I am, like I said, I'm a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody that can save anybody, and at the end of the day, but I feel that, I feel that I cannot give up because if I give up, Lyra's gonna give up as soon as she goes through a hard time, so our brother Muhammad, going through the things that he's dealing with, right now, and stuff. And Muhammad, if you're listening, we got your back. We're praying for you. We're pushing you forward, so despite the challenge and the things that you're facing right now, continue to keep on fighting. We
Yeah.
are right here in the trenches, with you. So I had to say that. But
So
at the end of the day, I know that if I give up, stuff, others will give up as soon as they go through hard times, and I'm not willing to do that. So
yeah.
that's just who I am. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Prolong. If you want the healthy benefits of fasting, such as healthy aging, weight loss, energy, and mental clarity, while still being able to eat, Prolong fasting mimicking nutrition programs are for you. Prolong is the first and only clinical tested doctor recommended fasting nutrition program based on over 20 years of research and development by the Longevity Institution at the University of Southern California in collaboration with 17 other prestigious universities. It's primarily plant based. Non GMO food is shown to rejuvenate your body cells the same way fasting would. And if done 3 times a year, you can reverse your biological age by 2.5 years. Check out Prolong 5 Days Nutritional Program and subscribe to the program every 4 months for the best results by going to prolonglive.com. That is PROLONLIFE.com. And for you, my dear self-reflection family, you get 20% off with code SELF10 at checkout. And I definitely do have that same fighting spirit for me by you also mentoring me in this space, and hearing you and knowing everything about you in the way that I do. Um, some people would have give up give up their fate, right, in that space. how what keeps you like connected still to that divine force, right? What if it's been God or the creator of heaven and earth, right? What keeps you having believing in that spirit, you know?
For me, August 15th, 1991, I made the best decision that I can ever make in my life, and that was to accept Jesus Christ in my life as my personal Lord Savior. Um, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, every day, um, challenges, what I mean, that I face. But knowing, that God sent His Son to die on the cross for my sins, for our sins, the sins of this world, and so forth. Um, that's what drives me the most, my faith and trusting, and even seeing how He's come through in some of the darkest times of my life, some of the times where I did want to give up. I didn't want to push forward. When other people were not there, so I had to trust in what I know, and what I know is that God will never leave us nor forsake us. Hebrews 13. Um, but yeah, He will never leave us. Never forsake us, and He will always see a way out. Of whatever we're going through, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for those mentors, those coaches, those teachers that instilled, those values, in my life as well too. And that's why I keep going. I keep going because I know that God is here. Daily. He's here. So, yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. And I definitely believe in that faith as well. As we come close to our conversation, before we go, I know you just mentioned Muhammad. I and you just said a message already. Muhammad is someone that us three, right? We spend a lot of time together. Um,
Lot of late
yeah,
nights, lot
a
of late
lot of
nights, bus
yeah.
rides, driving that blue van to Vegas that blew up
Sheila.
on us. Yep, that Sheila. Yep, absolute Sheila. Yeah, we we we,
You
we,
know,
we a lot.
yeah, sorry. Um, I know you also post on your Instagram story about Mohammed's GoFundMe. Do you want to bring more light to that GoFundMe and have, the people that my Ballin Ambassador brothers and sisters go ahead and support that as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to Coach Mike Allen MAS in the bio, you click on my bio, and click on the link to go to Muhammad's GoFundMe page that his sister Faraya has set up, for him. Unfortunately, it was a tragic, event that has him in the hospital, right now, um, paralyzed. It's tough, it was a tough phone call, to hear, that this tragic event, happened, to, my little brother, my son, my player, and knowing, Muhammad, and how much, he doesn't even know how much he's changed my life. You guys always say that, I've changed your life and this and that. but you guys changed my life. You guys are the reason why I fight. And Muhammad right now is fighting um, for the strength. And I believe that he's not going to be paralyzed. I believe that he's going to pull through. These doctors are doing everything that they can to help him. But if you can imagine sitting, in the hospital right now, not being able to move and this and that and stuff, and your life, just changing right before your eyes. Um, there's dark nights, what I mean, that he has, things that he faces and so forth. If you have it, in your heart, what I mean, to, help, this helps, him to keep fighting. This helps, them to take care of, the medical bills, what I mean, that they are incurring, with him being, in the hospital, when he gets out, the challenges that he will face, you know, um, taking, being able to pay rent and all that, all that stuff. There's a lot that goes into it, and I know, three years ago, I battled, what I mean, through health challenges, of myself, with, I have lower lumbar disease and degenerative disc. I'm living with an aneurysm, thoracic aneurysm, what I mean, and that's sitting in my chest. And so my life was changed 3 years ago, where I had to really make a shift in my life, where I could die tomorrow, right? So this thing grows bigger, within my chest area. That's it. So I've had to change, I mean, being able to, work out, what I mean, like I used to work out, I know at a certain point in time in my daily, regimen of life, I know when I have to stop. And if I don't, so I mean, who knows, where I would be, but my faith is what keeps me going, so I have my beautiful kids, here, so my kids, I mean, all out there, but people were there for me, at my darkest, worst moment, of my life, and I'm still here today because of everybody that supported me, and I know the same will be, done for Muhammad, as well. And so all of those who've already helped, thank you for your heart. Thank you for your willingness, to be there with the, it's not all about money, and stuff, but an encouraging word, to Muhammad, and it doesn't have to just be Muhammad. It could be, another family member or friend or so forth, that is going through a hard time. Um, uh, we need to be there as a community, to be there for each other. So thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. I also want to encourage all the Ballin Ambassador, my brothers and sisters from Ballin Ambassador. I think this is a moment where I because we were such a family in that space, I think this is a moment where if we can all come together, like Coach Mike said, it doesn't have to be financial support. It could be literally just reaching out to Mohammed's sister or family member to support them. Also, I think sharing the link, right? Sharing the link with your friends, family members on your social media, that's going to go a long way, right? So for all the Ballin Ambassador brothers and sisters, in this moment, we would love to ask you to just share the link on your social media or with one person in your cell phone, right? I think that was a big family that we had. We had a pretty great bond, all of those trips that we took, the times that we spent in Vegas in the hot heat, walking down the street, right? It was such a moment, and to see one of us in the way that we are right now with Mohammed, I think this is a moment where we look back and then we see all the great times, right? Um, I'm sorry, Coach Mike. I know how much Mohammed meant to you. I know the type of relationship and the bond that you guys had, And and I just remember the day when you called me when you heard the news and how much you were crying on the phone. And it was a family that we built, and in this moment, if anyone else is watching this conversation right now, all we do ask for you is just to share the link if you cannot support financially, right? Sorry guys, this is a lot. Getting to this spot, um before i before we end this conversation, I know I said I wanted to start this conversation with us opening up with a prayer, but I think we're going to close it up with a prayer. um if you don't, please, if you don't mind, if you could please close our conversation with a prayer, and adding Muhammad to this prayer, it would mean so much to me as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I want to end, just by, thanking you, for just the opportunity, to be able to talk with you, to see you, and you guys, Lira is amazing, and she has come a long way, and she, to see her in this platform and have been seeing her, from the day that she first decided to do the podcast. All I remember is during COVID, being stuck in Capitola. I forgot your friend's name. I feel so bad. But you guys both coming up with this idea of starting this podcast. I just remember saying, you know, no matter what, whatever God puts on your heart, you will accomplish everything, and lives will be touched. So you have touched my life, through every single episode, that I've been blessed to be able to watch and say, wow, God, look at what you've done in this woman, who has a beautiful smile, has an amazing heart, who has, also accomplished a lot, and keeps chopping down trees and moving mountains, but you guys, she is the real deal, and she is changing lives, and she's changed my life. So, in so many different ways. So, yeah, so I will pray. Dear God, we just thank you so much for today. We thank you for the many opportunities that you place in our lives, God. Because sometimes we don't want to give thanks, for even the hard times, Lord. But if we are able to give you thanks for the hard times, Lord, you make those hard times better. God, I pray for Muhammad. I pray that you continue to give him the encouragement that he needs, Lord, during this trying time. God, I pray that when when he hears this message, that he's encouraged and he knows that we may not be there physically with him, Lord, but we're there in every way that we can, and when we can, Lord. I pray that you just be with his family, and just help his family to know that they have the support from all of us in whatever way, whether it's a simple text message, if it's a phone call, whatever. Lord, help them to know that they are with our community is here together as one. God, we pray that you just be with every single doctor, every single nurse that tends to Muhammad. Allow them to encourage him, encourage his spirits, encourage his heart. Lord, I thank you for the opportunity of just when I was able to talk to him on FaceTime and just see him smile. That gave me strength, Lord. So, well, we pray that you continue to provide for every single need that he has, and I pray for all of us that we, we continue to recognize that you have given us life for a reason. You have given us the opportunities that we have for a reason, and help us to make the most of those opportunities as well. Help us to stay encouraged. help us to continue to lean on each other, whether it's a good time, whether it's a not so good time. But we thank you for who we are because of you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for blessing our space. Thank you so much for blessing Self Reflection Podcast. You know, before we go, I know you mentioned Ballin Ambassadors. We are also going to be putting Ballin Ambassadors handle in the description part of this podcast. Um, what is the Instagram or social media that people can connect with you if they want to?
It's Coach Mike Allen, MAS. So Coach Mike Allen, MAS. So, but yeah, but all of you guys out there know that I always say this, and you know what I'm about to say, Lira, but I always say this, with every single one of the players I've ever coached, my number is never going to change. I'm always going to be here, stuff, and I have not even been on social media in a minute, 3 days ago is when I got back on social media, stuff for because I had to share, about, Muhammad, and the help that is needed. And, I needed to take a break from social media, because, I'm still rebuilding my life, and things that I've gone through. But like I said, you all have my number, and the numbers never change. You guys may change. You guys may go somewhere or do this and this now, but I'm always here, and I'm always going to be here no matter what. So you can always call me, and you can always message me. I'm always here, and always will be here. You guys all remain in my prayer journal and my prayer book. It never stops. So when I get opportunities like this right now, and heard from some other players I hadn't talked to in a while, and just for them to say, that I have changed their lives. No, you've changed mine. So thank you for allowing me to be on the journey of life with you, and we'll keep on pushing forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was going to say, any final words you have for anyone out there, that's listening to this conversation?
If you keep a level head and you keep your eyes focused on God, He and only He will show you the way things work out. No matter what challenges you may face, understand you can't overcome every single obstacle, but just by giving praise, giving thanks to God, and He has you here for a reason, and we all can make a difference in one way or another. So don't ever change that at all. So keep pushing forward, and also don't be afraid, to ask for help when you need it. So love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Self Reflection Podcast. Like I said, you blessed us again today, and like your light just continue to shine over and over. And I know that I was blessed to have crossed path with you, and I know that there's so many other athletes that have been on this journey with me, and you also feel the same way, right? Because one of the things that before we go, one of the things that you told me when I was in high school that never left me was, you know, use this, we're talking about basketball, right? Use this as a tool to get yourself through college, because college is expensive, and from where you come from, right? Your parents don't have this type of money to pay for college, and you said this is the way out, this is your way out. And that message never left me. Even when I went through different times of going to Canada and coming back and not going to school for a whole year, right? That was the message that never left me. And, the goal that we had set for myself together was getting me into a school that was going to help me pay for my education. And that was what ended up happening. And I'm forever grateful for that. So thank you.
Oh, you did it. You listened and you did it. So I remember those conversations,
Mhm.
and but it was the prayers, too, and many prayers. My mom praying for you, and praying for all of my players. That she, even though she was never able to be at a lot of games, she watched those games through me. She's watched those games on video and on the phone, or hearing me talk about all of you guys, and I've
Mhm.
had, what I mean, thousands of players,
Yeah.
and, I'm thankful to be, like I said, on the journey of life with all of you, with you, and with all of you, because we need it. We need it. So,
So
yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
Mm. Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you guys so much for joining me on Self Reflection Podcast. I hope that this conversation finds you in the best possible state that you can be for yourself in today. And please do not forget to do some self reflection. Also, like I mentioned, we are going to be putting Coach Mike's handle in the description part of this podcast episode. Also, we are going to be putting the link of Mohammed's GoFundMe in the description part as well of this conversation, and also on my Instagram bio. Please go ahead and share that link with one other person, even if it's on your social media, a long time friend group, all of those friend groups that we have in our cell phones, right? Go ahead and share that link with someone else. And you don't know what that one share might do, right? You don't know who is that share is going to find on your social media. And also, I want to say thank you guys for sharing the link, for supporting Mohammed in this moment, and for keeping his family and him in you guys' prayer. Thank you guys again so much for joining me on Self Reflection Podcast. Until next time, you're listening to Self Reflection Podcast, and this is your girl Lira. Ta-da!